Christian View. Yes, welcome to the Christian View, where we take today's hot topics and weigh them against the Word of God, because God always has a view. It gets overlooked sometimes, but He does have one. Men are from Mars. Women are from Venus. Is that true? Do you believe there really is that much difference in the two?
You know, it's funny that you asked that question, because I have a friend who wrote a book a few years ago, and it's entitled "Men Are From Dirt and Women Are From Men." And that, isn't that great? Yeah, and it's true, because that's what Genesis 2 says, you know, that God formed man out of the dust of the earth.
True.
And He took the woman from the man. But,
Yeah.
you know, I think women and men are totally different.
they are,
There's no doubt about that. We all know that. But
All of them going,
there's a great preacher, comedian, and he speaks on the differences between a brain of a man, a brain of a woman.
yeah.
Have you guys ever seen that?
Yes.
And he talks about how men have boxes within their brain. There's a football box, and there's a family box, and there's a wife box, and there's a house box, and there's a work box, and that none of the boxes touch. And then in women's brains, we're just a bunch of wires up there, and all the wires connect. Yeah, and they're all just bzz, 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 all the time, you know, just connecting with each other. And that's a big difference between
That's a huge
It's a
difference.
huge difference.
Well,
yeah.
one of the things that he says is, and for the men here, sorry, but he says they even have a box that's the empty box, where they can not think about anything. And this is the truth. We were on a trip once, and we had been traveling for about 2 hours. My husband hadn't said a word, and I said, "What are you thinking about?" He said, "Nothing." I said, "For 2 hours you've been thinking about nothing?" I mean, I've solved the world's problems in the last 2 hours over here. And he said, "Well, maybe a wrench I'll use on that pipe." In 2 hours time, that's all he's
processed on.
He doesn't want to tell you what he was thinking about for 2 hours, girlfriend.
No, but our brains really are different. I mean, chemically, they really are made up different, and the men need to process. We can actually talk and think about what we're saying all at the same time, and they take it in, and they need to step back, and they need to process it. And I think we need to understand that as women, when we're communicating with our husbands, we want them to come back and answer us. We want to finish this disagreement or conversation, and they may need time to step back.
Is that true, men?
You know, there is a theory, you know, the right brain, left brain theory, you know, that talks about, you know, that we actually operate out of one or the other side of our brains, you know, which controls the way we function, or the thinking process and decisions that we make, you know.
It's very true. We're more emotional many times, and they, you know, they want to get things done. Oftentimes, we want to carry on a conversation. We can continue to talk and continue to talk a subject to death.
Men don't want to argue, women do.
Yeah, well,
that is true, Jackie.
I don't know, Jackie.
And a woman has always got to have the last word in every argument. And anything after that the man says is just the beginning of a new
I
argument.
disagree with that a little bit, though, because I've been in conversations with my husband where he can out-talk me, and I'm just like, okay, I give up.
Wow.
But you're right. I mean, I think we can drag a conversation on too much sometimes. We have
You
to.
know, we were talking about how women, we multitask, we're multitaskers, and how men, you'll ask them to do something like on your honey-do list around the house, and if you ask them to do that, then they're going to focus on that one thing until it's done. Well, we want to come alongside and stand there and ask them 15 other questions while they're trying to focus on that one thing.
one box.
Yeah,
That one box.
Exactly. Men just
Let me read this to you and our audience concerning the right and left brain.
Okay.
And tell me if this is men and women. Now, with the women, it's considered that we're more right brain. Okay, so the right brain is random, intuitive, holistic, synthesizing, subjective, and looks at wholes. Now, the left brain is logical, sequential, rational, analytical, objective, and get this, looks at parts. Okay, is that not a man? Looks at parts.
Agree.
Parts.
Men are visual. Looks at parts.
Women's parts.
Parts.
Parts. I think that's one whole box in itself right there, girlfriend.
I was reading a marriage book once, and I learned something that I had not known, and that was when, like, if my husband and I had a disagreement, that I wanted to finish it. And he wanted to go in his cave.
Ignore it.
And he wanted to think about it so he could come back and talk about it. And the book said a wise woman will not stand at the cave saying, come out, we're going to finish this. And that she'll let the man have as much time as he needs in the cave so that he can come back and talk about it rationally.
That's true, but there are also things that we need that are alike. There are things that men need, that acceptance, approval, affection, respect
Yeah.
and security. They need those things just like we do. So there are ways that we're different, but there are ways that we're very much alike. And I think we need to also look at those things that we're alike in to say, what are we doing to show them that affection and appreciation and so forth, that an approval, respect, and that's helping them to feel secure, and yet are they reciprocating as well?
I agree, because my husband and I, a lot of times we think alike. Do you remember like when you maybe first dated, or
Yeah.
just sometimes, with your spouse, just like, we're thinking the same thing. Wow,
Yes.
But, as you go through marriage, you're kind of still thinking the same thing, but you have two different perspectives of it.
Yeah.
And most of the time, that's where we argue, because we're actually saying the same thing, but we're giving two different perspectives of it. And it's like,
That's a good
yeah.
thing, isn't it?
Well, especially
I
when
think
you're
it can be.
each other out.
yeah, you do, but you
Completing
can
each
really,
other.
That's it right there.
We do.
That's
like
right.
the movie.
And that's how we're designed. God designed us in such a way that we do complement,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
if we were just alike, we'd drive each other crazy.
That's right. That's
Just
right.
think about what God said after he made man. He said it's not good for him to be alone.
Right.
And
There
he
you
made
go.
the woman.
Yeah.
So we
it's a
need each
complement.
other.
Have you
know,
ever
and it's-
heard that, what is it, married men live longer? Is it they live longer or less than single men? Which one lived the longest, the married or
I
the
think
single?
relationships
Yeah.
married men.
Because
Also, we're taking care of
relationships are important.
Now it's us. We're taking care of them.
Well, we are taking. Okay, it is maybe us. I won't argue with that, but I
You
think
can look at that in
relationships.
two ways, too, can't you?
One of the things that you often hear is that a man marries a woman hoping she'll never change,
Yeah.
and a woman marries a man thinking, I'll change him. I'll
And
change
neither
him.
one happens. That's right. The woman will change after she's married, and the man won't.
Yeah.
I've seen that over and over again, Dawn.
Yeah, I love the joke that says, men that have pierced ears are more prepared for marriage because they have experienced pain and they bought jewelry. So,
My goodness.
I have not heard that one.
Oh, my goodness.
well, if you pay better, you get better jokes, So.
But I think we need to understand that in relationships, you can go so many years. We've talked a lot about this, and you're into your relationships with children, and you're focused on that. And there comes that point in time where it's time to focus on just you and your husband, and you're back going, what do we need to do to understand one another and live with one another? As God tells us, to live with one another in an understanding way.
Did you see the picture? It says, it's a book, How to Understand a Woman. It's about this thick.
Well, and men are complicated too. They really are.
You think so?
I absolutely do. I think they hide it, and I think that's what makes them so complicated. Is it's harder to crack the shell to get through to their emotions and see what they're really feeling sometimes.
Well, but I think this way. A man generally will say what he means, and a woman.
I think so, too.
Don't. When a woman says something she does not mean sometimes
She said.
what she said. I sent my husband to the store for a couple of lemons. He comes back with two.
There you go. We're going to
"Why
take a
didn't you just get
break.
two for
We'll
him?"
be right back.